Hello and welcome back to Everyday English Pod, your go-to podcast for boosting your English listening and writing skills. I'm Leo, and today's episode is designed to help you become more comfortable and confident in your daily English communication. We'll be focusing on simple yet authentic stories, the kind you encounter every day, and how these stories can help you understand and express yourself more naturally in English. Now, before we dive in, let me ask you a question. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where you struggled to grasp the nuances of a conversation, or perhaps you've felt that your own English expression lacked a certain naturalness? It's a common experience, and I've been there too. But the good news is that today, I'm going to share some approachable stories and practical examples that will empower you to enhance your listening and writing abilities. So, tune in, listen closely, and with a bit of practice, you'll find yourself navigating English conversations with greater ease and fluency. And a quick note for our new listeners. We release fresh episodes every week, packed with tips and techniques to help you on your English learning journey. Whether you're just starting out or you're an advanced learner, there's always something new to discover. So, if you're enjoying this episode, please give that like button a click. It really helps us spread the word. Let's kick things off with a story about my friend, Anna. She recently shared her experience at a local farmer's market. Anna and her partner were shopping for fresh produce for the week. Anna, who loves to cook, emphasized how much she appreciates the market for its variety and quality. She said, "I always love coming to the market. The selection of fresh, seasonal ingredients is fantastic, and it makes preparing meals so much more enjoyable." Now, pay close attention to how Anna uses simple, everyday phrases. For instance, she says, "I always love coming to the market, and it makes preparing meals so much more enjoyable." These are natural ways of expressing feelings and preferences, the way people actually talk in real life. As you listen to these phrases, try to imagine yourself using them. How could you incorporate them into your own conversations? Perhaps the next time you're talking about a favorite place to shop or an activity you enjoy, you could use similar sentences. It's about taking those phrases and making them your own. Here's another example. A few days ago, my partner and I took a short trip to a nearby lake. The weather was perfect, sunny but pleasantly cool. When we arrived, we took a leisurely stroll along the shoreline, enjoying the gentle sound of the water. I remember saying to my partner, "This is the perfect way to unwind. I feel so peaceful here." After our walk, we found a cozy spot to sit and admire the scenery. It was a truly tranquil and lovely moment. What do you notice about the language in this story? I'm using simple sentences to describe an experience, just like Anna did. But pay particular attention to how I expressed my feelings. "I feel so peaceful here." This is a versatile phrase that you can use whenever you want to convey a sense of calm or relaxation in a particular setting. Maybe you've been to a park, a garden, or even just a quiet room in your home where you felt that same sense of peace. Try using this sentence the next time you want to share your feelings with someone in English. Let's consider another common scenario. Have you ever tried something new, like following a new recipe or learning a new skill? Last month, I decided to try making bread from scratch for the first time. I wasn't sure if it would turn out well, but I carefully followed the instructions. When the bread was finally baked, the aroma was wonderful, and I was eager to taste it. My family was the first to try it, and they exclaimed, "Wow, this is delicious. You should bake bread more often." I was so pleased with their reaction. This story provides a great example of how to use English to describe a first-time experience. I used phrases like, "I wasn't sure if it would turn out well," and "I was eager to taste it." These are useful expressions to convey uncertainty or excitement about something you're trying for the first time. The next time you embark on a new endeavor, try incorporating these phrases into your conversations to describe your feelings and reactions. Now, let's move on to another story. A few weeks ago, my friend, Ben, called me to share the news about his new job. Ben had been searching for a job for several months, and he was thrilled to finally land a position. He said, "I was pretty nervous at first, but after my first day, I felt much better. My colleagues are welcoming and the work environment is really positive." Ben was clearly excited to begin this new chapter in his career. Did you notice how Ben expressed his emotions in a clear and simple way? He used phrases like, I was pretty nervous at first, and I felt much better. These are helpful expressions for talking about your feelings, especially when describing your initial reactions to a new situation. In fact, you can practice using these phrases in your own life. Perhaps you've had a similar experience, starting a new job, a new course, or even moving to a new city. Try describing your feelings using the phrases Ben used. I was pretty nervous at first, and I felt much better can be adapted to many different contexts. Here's a more personal story. Last year, my family and I decided to renovate our kitchen. We wanted to create a more functional and inviting space. We visited several home improvement stores and spent a considerable amount of time selecting the right materials and appliances. After a few weeks of work, we finally completed the renovation, and we were thrilled with the results. I remember saying, "This kitchen is exactly what we needed. It's so much more practical and enjoyable to use." This story provides a great example of how to use English to talk about home improvement projects. When describing changes you've made to your home, you can use phrases like, "This kitchen is exactly what we needed," or "It's so much more practical and enjoyable to use." These expressions are versatile and can be used to describe various home improvements or even new purchases for your home. By now, you've heard several stories, and I hope you're starting to feel more comfortable with some of the phrases and sentences I've used. Remember, the key is to practice. The more you listen and actively use these phrases in your own conversations, the more proficient you'll become in speaking and writing English. Each time you listen to these stories, try to focus on the phrases that are easy to remember and relevant to your everyday life. Don't hesitate to incorporate them into your own speech and writing. Consistent practice is the path to fluency and confidence. So, let's continue with more stories to further refine your listening skills and expand your English vocabulary. Rise to further refine your listening skills and expand your English vocabulary. The podcast continues with more stories, each focusing on a specific everyday situation and highlighting useful phrases and expressions. The stories cover topics like moving to a new house, cooking a meal, taking a trip, dealing with a car problem, and various social interactions. The host emphasizes the importance of listening for natural language and practicing the highlighted phrases. Okay, let's keep the podcast going. Here's how the monologue could continue, building on the established format and focusing on different everyday scenarios. Let's dive into another story, this time about my friend David and his recent move. David had been planning to relocate for several weeks, and he was a mix of excitement and stress as the moving day approached. On the day of the move, a few of us arrived early to help him. David greeted us with a relieved smile and said, "I've been looking forward to this day, but I didn't quite grasp how much work it would actually involve." We spent the entire day packing boxes, loading the moving truck, and then unloading everything at his new place. Throughout the process, David repeatedly expressed his gratitude, saying things like, "Thank you all so much for your help. I really appreciate you being here." Moving can certainly be a demanding experience, but David's positive attitude and words of thanks made it much more manageable. Now, let's focus on the language David used. He said, "I didn't quite grasp how much work it would actually involve, and thank you all so much for your help. I really appreciate you being here." These are excellent phrases to use when you want to express surprise at the extent of something or to convey sincere gratitude. For example, you could say, "I didn't quite grasp how much effort it would take to learn this new skill," or, "I really appreciate your advice on this matter." Try to incorporate these phrases into your own conversations the next time you want to emphasize your surprise or express your thanks. Here's another relatable situation. One evening, my partner and I decided to cook dinner together. We were both feeling a bit tired after a long day, but we wanted to prepare something healthy and satisfying. After rummaging through the refrigerator, we found some fresh vegetables and chicken, and we decided to make a stir-fry. As we were cooking, my partner remarked, "This smells amazing. I can't wait to try it." We both chuckled, because we were equally excited about the delicious aroma filling the kitchen. Notice how simple yet effective the language is here. By using phrases like, "This smells amazing," and "I can't wait to try it," We're not only describing the food but also conveying our anticipation and enjoyment. You can use similar phrases the next time you're cooking or enjoying a meal. They add a touch of enthusiasm to your conversations. Now, I want to share a story about a recent outing with my family. We decided to spend a day at a nearby nature reserve. The weather was perfect, sunny and mild, ideal for a leisurely walk. As we strolled through the forest, we were treated to a stunning display of wildlife and plant life. My child, who has a keen interest in animals, exclaimed, "Look, Mom, I've never seen a bird like that before." It was a magical moment for all of us, sharing that sense of wonder and discovery in nature. This story provides another great example of how to use English to describe a simple yet memorable experience. My child's expression, "I've never seen a bird like that before," is a versatile sentence structure that you can use whenever you encounter something new or exciting. You can also adapt it to other situations, like trying a new food or visiting a new place. It's a natural way to express surprise and curiosity. Have you ever had a similar experience, where you stumbled upon something unexpected and captivating? You can use the same sentence structure to share your thoughts and feelings. "I've never seen a tree like that before," or "I've never tasted a flavor like this" are simple yet powerful ways to connect with others and share your discoveries. Let's shift our focus to a situation that many of us can relate to. A few days ago, my friend, Alex, called me to describe a minor car trouble he encountered. He was driving to work when his car started making an unusual noise. He was understandably concerned but decided to drive to a nearby mechanic's shop to have it checked out. When he arrived, the mechanic quickly assessed the situation and said, "It's nothing serious, just a small part that needs to be replaced." Alex was greatly relieved and responded, "Oh, thank you so much for checking it out. I was really worried." Notice the language Alex used to express his emotions and gratitude. "I was really worried," and "thank you so much for checking it out." These are common and natural phrases that we use in everyday conversations. You can use "I was really worried" to convey your anxiety or concern about a situation, and "thank you so much for helping" or "thank you so much for checking it out" to express your appreciation for someone's assistance. Think about a time when you experienced a small problem or inconvenience, like your phone malfunctioning or misplacing your keys. How did you talk about it? Did you express your worry or your gratitude for help? Try to incorporate phrases like "I was really worried" or "thank you so much for helping" the next time you find yourself in a similar situation. Let's move on to another story, this time about my friend Emily, who recently moved to a new city for her job. She was a bit apprehensive at first because she didn't know anyone in the city, but after a few weeks, she started making new friends and exploring the area. Emily told me, "I was a little scared when I first moved here, but now I feel much more comfortable. I'm starting to really like this place." It was heartwarming to hear how she was adjusting and beginning to feel at home in her new surroundings. In this story, Emily used phrases like "I was a little scared" and "I feel more comfortable" to describe her emotions. These kinds of phrases are perfect for when you want to talk about how you're feeling in a new or unfamiliar situation. If you've ever moved to a new place, started a new job, or even joined a new club or class, you can use phrases like these to share your own experiences. For example, you could say, "I was nervous at first, but now I feel much better," or "I'm starting to feel at home here." The more you practice listening to stories like these, the more natural it will feel to use similar sentences in your own life. Whether it's talking about moving, starting something new, or overcoming a challenge, the English phrases we use in these situations will help you express yourself clearly and confidently. As you continue to listen to these stories, remember that it's not just about understanding the words. It's about recognizing how we use these phrases in real-life situations. So, the next time you're in a similar situation, think about the phrases you've learned today. Don't be afraid to use them when you talk to others or when you write. Practice makes perfect, and the more you use the language, the more fluent and natural you'll become. Last weekend, my partner and I decided to go hiking in the mountains. We had been planning the trip for a while, and finally, the weather was ideal. As we walked along the trail, we were treated to breathtaking views of the valley below. At one point, my partner turned to me and said, "Look at this view." "It's absolutely amazing." I smiled and agreed, saying, "Yes, I've never seen anything quite like this before." We paused for a moment to soak in the beauty of our surroundings. This is a great example of how to describe something that impresses you. You can use phrases like, "It's amazing," or "I've never seen anything like this before," to express your awe and appreciation when you encounter something beautiful or extraordinary. These phrases are easy to remember and can be used in a variety of situations. For example, if you visit a new city, you can say, "I've never been here before," or "This is the most beautiful city I've ever visited." After hiking for a while, we stopped to have lunch. We unpacked our food and enjoyed a peaceful moment in nature. My partner looked at their sandwich and said, "I wasn't sure about this sandwich, but it's actually delicious." We both laughed because we had initially thought it would be a simple snack, but it turned out to be much more satisfying than expected. This is another excellent example of how to express surprise or pleasure in everyday situations. By saying, "It's actually delicious," you're conveying that something exceeded your expectations. The next time you try something new and enjoy it, you can use similar phrases. You could say, "I didn't think I'd like it, but it's really good," or "I wasn't sure about this, but it's great." Later that evening, we returned home, feeling refreshed and relaxed. My partner asked if I wanted to watch a movie, but I said, "I think I'll just read for a bit. I'm a bit tired after the hike." Sometimes, it's nice to unwind in a quiet way after a busy day. I picked up a book, and as I read, I felt completely at peace. This is a good example of how to use simple phrases to express your preferences or feelings. For example, you can say, "I'm tired," when you need rest, or "I think I'll just relax for a while," when you want to unwind. These are common expressions that people use to communicate their needs and desires. And that's all the time we have for today's episode. I hope you found these stories and phrases useful for your English learning journey. Remember, the key is to practice and incorporate these expressions into your own conversations. The more you use them, the more natural and confident you'll sound. Thank you for listening, and I'll be back with more tips and stories in our next episode.